Hello, David.
Hey, Albina.
I wasn't sure if I signed up for this, even though I told you I did. Did I? It wasn't on my calendar.
uh, yeah, I don't think you can do it now.
No, the sign up closed. I tried. I
Yeah,
panicked. Then I saw. I was like, "Oh, good. He did send me the invite."
yeah. Well, it's not that big a deal. But I
Mm.
opened it up right now. No big deal. All right.
It was interesting. We'll wait for the rest of them to join. But whose choice was it?
uh,
Mm.
well, what happened was we were doing Conan the Barbarian, and uh, we got a little bit through the original run, and this is another version of the same stories.
Yeah, a little bit more modernized
Yeah,
compared to the original comic.
yeah. But we may end up going back to the older ones. We'll
Yeah.
see what we feel like doing. No, the reason you weren't here was you were on the road when we did the volume one and volume two.
Ah, okay, okay.
You weren't
No,
here.
I caught up. I caught up. Read all three of them,
All right.
and yeah, hence the cheek, like the tongue in a cheek kind of comments.
Right, sure, right.
It's like the stories are uh, the original stories, right? Like they do have that taste of the classic comic books, right? Like the unknown places, treasures,
Yeah,
like made up tribes or countries or cities.
right.
So it's, yeah, it's like definitely like part of this adventure fantasy
Yeah.
type. And sorry to say it, but like very like men centric, where everybody was stuck probably in their suburban homes having to fix their fences and clean the leaves or cut the grass, but they were made for bigger adventure. So Conan was was the outlet.
Right. Yeah, the first ones were in the 70s, but anybody can do the stories. So these are the same stories.
Yeah,
Uh I
they
know.
have that flair, right?
Yeah.
Of the old fashioned storytelling, like the fantasy.
Yeah. Robert E. Howard. Yeah. Howard wrote early part of the 20th century. Yeah. Nice too.
It's still kind of unique. I think it is kind of like the birth of the, like a lot of like these adventure movies and books that came later on. But um
Yeah.
Well,
but that
I
cons
imagine it was quite something back in 1930. Brawny barbarians or semi-naked girls running around everywhere. It would have been very novel in 1930, I reckon.
yeah, like that need to have damsel in distress cling on to your foot and beg you for save to be saved, right? It's it's interesting that somebody kind of resurrected, made it a little bit more modern as far as arts, but the storyline is still outdated, right? Like they just dusted it off a little bit.
What Night Rescues the Maiden, yeah, it's a bit old, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, like not many women were reading them when we kind of look at the history of them. Like they were not catered towards women. Women were not the ones with the money buying them. It was more for men who had the money. It was more for boys, the fathers who wanted the boys to kind of like have a like hero or somebody to look up to. It wasn't catered for women. So hence that like male fantasy of like women needing the rescue.
Yeah, people are machines, and they certain types of stimuli work on them. That's the way people are.
Yeah. Now we do have internet and TVs, right? So a little bit more diverse when it comes to storytelling nowadays. And in comic books, we do see kind of like equalization between the heroes, distribution of who is the hero and who does the rescuing. And then we also have the nice balance between brains versus muscle. For him, it's all about muscle. Like he's super strong, right?
Yeah, well, probably the comics went to make him ridiculously, muscles. He became a mountain of flesh in the like that guy did the comics in was it back in the 1970s or what was it? Initially tried to make a more realistic figure, so he was extremely athletic, was get muscle to the point that was bordering away from reality, but it was still fairly realistic. Whereas, yeah, very soon Frank, what's his name?
Rosetta?
Zapata, is it?
Rosetta.
Frazetta, yeah, starts turning him into an unbelievable mountain of muscle.
One thing I didn't, because I was rushing to go through all three books, like one thing I didn't check was each story in these like new volumes, was it done by a different artist? Because there's distinct differences in art style and how he was drawn. Was it? Have you guys discussed that?
Yeah, there was different artists.
So it was, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
For
I,
each story, I think each story has a different artist. Yeah.
mm. It almost reminds me of those books, David, that you sent me. Like what are they called? Each one done by a different comic
Solo.
artist. Yeah,
Solo.
yeah. Solo. Sorry, another long week. And plus we had the first insane asylum in the United States is in my town, and the
You came
contractor
to the right
decided to burn
place.
it. Wow. Thanks, Steven. Wow. All right, David, you heard it. He took the first swing. Do not kick me out if I swing back, Steven. It's coming. When you least expect it, I'll swing at you. But no, they burned it down. So it triggered my asthma. I was so tired the whole week.
Wow.
Oh, it burned down this week, did it?
Yeah, I had to get out somehow, Steven. Psh.
Oh, you started the fire.
It's my choice of weapon, fire.
Yeah, well, I used to put people in the loony bins in the old days. I think in America, I think in the 1950s, they had quite a large population. I think it was something like about 500,000. And this was when America's population was much smaller. I think in the 1950s, there was only about 150 to 180 million Americans. Now it's double that. So today, 500,000 would be like a million people.
Well, insane asylums were not just popular in the United States, they were popular all over the world. It was the chic thing to do back then.
Well, yeah, they started off, I think, Well, actually, quite a way back, but sort of more the humanitarian style. I think began with the French or something like that, didn't it? They tried to create better conditions, relatively speaking, for the inmates.
It was more of women being hysterical, overworked, and everything, and then husbands dropping them off for. They had quite few interesting methods in curing hysteria. I'll let you guys Google it. I think some of those methods women very preferred so much, so I think they wanted to institutionalize
Oh
themselves for
yeah, I
them.
think I've read about them now. I
Yeah,
said
right.
before, yeah.
All right, David is gonna yell at us if we don't go back to the book. So
No, that's all right. We read the Nellie Bly book. Remember that, Stephen? A couple years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Nellie Bly.
Okay.
10 Days in a Madhouse.
Oh right, right. Yeah, that's.
Remember that? Yeah.
Well, I think the madhouses were a good idea. Look at the amount of people on the streets these days. They're crazy.
I think on the right condition, if you treat them, they were right, but not just lock them up and lose the key and neglect them.
Well, you got to think about the positives, the relatively sane people in society that contribute to your gross national product
Hmm.
rather than all the freeloaders. Okay, the island of the dead or something like that, was it? It's one of those islands in that, what was it, Hyperanian Sea or something like that. Okay, yeah. This is actually way beyond Arnold Schwarzenegger, actually. Even he's not that built.
Yeah, it reminded me of He-Man. That's what I told David. And I was like, initially, I was like, oh, we're covering He-Man. I was like, oh no, it's Conan the Barbarian. Oh,
She's
I
not
got
gonna
excited.
she's not gonna want him to lie on top, is she? I actually enjoyed these two. I thought the artwork was very pleasing. The story sort of flowed nicely.
Cool.
But it's sort of classic stuff. The damsel in distress, the stoic muscle man.
Pretty sure we saw these stories in the first 70s run, didn't we? Yeah.
Oh yeah, actually, I can't recall now.
Right, sure.
I, Probably, yeah, I'd probably look up the Wikipedia of the story. And yeah, usually they'll mention where it's been published. Well, I like that pose. This is traditionally where women were in the good old days, bleeding. I like the language.
Damn, Steven, you're that old. You remember those days back then? You had
Oh, it's
supper with
worse than that.
Jesus?
I can remember my former incarnations.
Mhm.
It was quite interesting, the facial kind of expressions. This artist knew how to kind of flip between the facial expressions really well. I appreciated that part.
Sure.
Is that a gorilla coming out of the reeds? I remember when I was in the science fiction club and the Conan the Barbarian fans were there. One guy was saying, well, if you want to describe Conan, just get a gorilla and shave the hair off. And that's Conan. You're just a mangy dog. Quarter, ask for quarter, use wine. This is the assumed position for women in the old days when things were going on.
Mhm.
If that's supposed to provoke me, Steven, I think you gotta come up with better material. I'm used to your like sexist talk at this point. I
Oh, I-
expected it would be unusual if you didn't use it.
Actually, in my last incarnation that I'm fully aware of, I was female. So I had to put up with that sort of society.
Hanging on to men's legs, begging them to be saved.
Yeah, well, it was
Well,
risky. I think you're fairly safe with the upper classes, but the lower classes of men were very uneducated and dangerous back then. Actually, I was hit in the back of the head by a man. That's how I died.
it's so unusual, kind of like even his clothing and his behavior changes between the books, between the stories.
Yeah, right.
This one was so detailed. Like I had to pause here, zoom in several places, and I kind of appreciated having the digital form of the book. Um, it's
Oh, there
quite
we go.
interesting that
Some
it was depicted. Even the light coming from outside, right? Like right there above the letters.
Hmm.
Very nicely done.
some dark slave women there. Some more women being shown off. It's yeah, quite. What do you think, David, of this whole scene? Every figure in it, every position in it. What do you think?
Right. Yeah, very nicely done. Yeah.
And the difference between, like, if you look behind the throne, like you see like different types of soldiers around the king or the ruler.
Mhm.
So like you can kind of see that they were just purely fantasizing and s- setting the scenery, kind of like mixing it up between nations and costumes and uniforms.
Oh, right. So what do you think is being mixed up here? I suppose it is really. Yeah. Now, this is
If
supposed to
you-
be.
So the two guys standing behind the throne, you see one all the way in the background behind the redhead, and then the one standing closer to the king. They wear two different uniforms. Even their weapons are completely different.
Oh, which one was this? Where was this? Here.
Yeah. Zoom in behind the throne.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That guy and the one behind him. Do you see the one in the background
Yeah.
with a helmet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The helmet is late medieval. Probably about getting
Yeah.
close to Renaissance
And
times.
he has the spear, right? Where this guy in the front has this like spear sword.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, a spear sword, if you like, was a fairly rare thing. You start to see them more in the Middle Ages. Not really something that's that common in earlier times. Why, I don't know. It could have been the quality of the metal. In the Middle Ages, they were starting to make much better metal than has existed in Roman times, for example. Uh, Yeah, well, the guy in front looks almost like something out of the Assyrian Empire. So
Hmm.
in the images, there's a gap of something like about 2,000 years.
So you guys read the original ones. Did the artist follow the original style? Is this what in original book was depicted, or did they take liberty to completely change it
Well,
in the
there,
story?
the original comics were doing pretty much the same thing. You know, this is supposed to be like, what is it, 10,000 BC or something like that. And I would say symbolically, Conan is actually based uh, around the time of the Assyrian Empire. So they were, tossing in stuff. Same thing. They're tossing in stuff that was a complete mishmash of anything goes. Uh, we look at this architecture. This architecture is equivalent to what's the name of it? That big the Hagia Sophia in Constantinople. So this is very what we would call late Roman architecture, which continued into the Dark Ages and Middle Ages. Now, this whole thing of a woman being treated in public like this in this huge courtroom is rather unlikely.
Well,
This,
that was her story. She's telling the story how humiliated she was and that her spirit should have been broken based on what was done to her. But she said that she never gave up the fight. They never broke her spirit, and she was still spirited enough to run away. So
this
I think this is like story told from her point of view, of her memory of it all.
well, this is sort of like an Ottoman sultan, and I don't think they would do this sort of stuff in the open in a huge courtroom in any era because it's going to get the wrong vibes. It's something you might do in a secluded room, but not for public gaze. No.
No, really, men when they're kind of like high on this battle lust, they do weird things in front of each other and cheer each other on.
But this is a throne room. This is how you
Yeah,
display yourself to the world.
and they just came back from a battle that they have won, and they brought back people that they have captured as gifts to the king, and king could accept her. If the king doesn't accept her, he will throw her back to the soldiers, and the soldiers are already drunk and high on celebration.
Oh, okay, we'll just leave it at this. In my opinion, this extreme sort of behaviour is something that wouldn't happen in a throne room where that's sort of under a
But
sort of
yes,
public gaze. That's my position. You have a different position. Okay.
you're a little bit more decent in like in your thinking, I think. I see them
Uh,
more as barbarian. You did say that ballpark 10,000 BC.
yeah,
You
this
think they
this is
followed
sort of
any
based
morals
on,
back
well,
then?
even in the Assyrian Empire, uh, how you displayed yourself out in the open is different from how you display yourself
I don't know.
behind
Syrian
closed
Empire at
doors.
that point was more advanced when you think about it in science and in culture,
Well, the
more than Western.
later Syrian Empire was almost on the level of the Romans. That was quite advanced. That's the late one, the last Assyrian Empire. Okay, we're out in the battlefield. He's using a long lance, which was used. Alexander the Great's mob used long lances. So I think the steppe peoples had the long lances. Well, this is something I think I understand. I haven't read it, but when you see the Assyrian Empire's armies and troops, I would bet that most of them are Scythians or Persians. The Assyrians themselves were these people that lived in near Babylonia, and they probably weren't the greatest fighters around. They would hire these primitive barbarians from the steppes who are great fighters, equip them and pay them. But most people wouldn't be able to work that out. The Cimmerians or Cimmerians originally lived in Ukraine, and it's in Herodotus. What's his name? The Greek historian claimed that they were overthrown by the Scythians, and one party of this Cimmerians went into Anatolia and created a state there for a little while. So this is probably the historical basis of Conan.
I don't think it has any historical sense. They took liberty at, like, whoever came up with a story was zero educated about history, and they whatever information they gathered, they just slabbered it all over their fantasy story, and this is where Conan came out. It was a guy with muscle and a sword and lust to conquer, to fight, and to have women cling on his knees, around his knees. I don't think it has anything to do with history. Like, they didn't try to preserve or depict any history. They just tried to kind of like create a setting. Like, for today's society, reading this doesn't make any sense because in our mind we are more educated. We are trying to connect it to something, but back then people didn't have really
Albina,
access to all of this.
do you know much about history?
What?
Do you know much about history?
No, I don't. I'm
There
too
you
young
go.
to know anything about history.
Well, you're never too young. I started young. Okay. We've got a very nice naturalistic image here. Very, they've got these very pleasant colours. So he's treating her like a pet. She's found a nice parrot.
How is he
Parrot.
treating her like a pet?
Oh, well, what is she to him?
A
Is she,
companion?
yes, well, a pet's a companion, but she's not in the same league as Conan. He's a
Do your
different,
pets talk back to you?
well, parrots do.
Yeah, after you trained them, but she literally had a contract with him. She said if he took her along that he will get paid by, or he's gonna get rewarded for it.
Oh,
So
did she say
pets
that? Did
don't,
she? I missed that out.
like, but she doesn't say, "Hey, put me on a leash, take me along, feed me, and I'll sleep around your legs."
I'm a barbarian. I know from your looks that you fear me. Yes, I'm afraid of you, but I dread Hyperinians even more. Come then. My name is Olivia. I was a captive of this scoundrel. I ran away and he chased me here. His soldiers are not far away. They will torture me if they find me next to the body of their leader. Wait, take me with you. Who are you? They haven't exactly created a contract. I think that was a little bit the next one. She's just a damsel in distress. Maybe he's taken her along to alleviate any sensations of boredom.
They're both trying to escape, so they found common ground.
Of course, you'd watch her like a hawk because women are devious.
Yeah,
They appear innocent, but they're not really innocent.
I know. So devious. If they could, they would just stop giving birth to mankind altogether and
Uh,
stop feeding the children and stop taking care of the families. But good thing men are there to put them straight on their path of giving birth, taking care
and
of
I think
men.
women are driven by an instinct to reproduce. That's obvious. Otherwise, there would be no reproduction going on, which has become the case in our very atomized society with its great number of distractions. Uh, in a more primitive society, of course, you depended greatly on the larger community. Women depended on the strength of men. Women were useful in a simple society, but today we have technology, which means we can live as an atomized individual.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. We can definitely divide men and women into two subcategories and maybe divide and put a great wall in between them and have finally peace on earth because then neither one would fight with each other. You're absolutely right, Stephen. I support you with that one. I'll vote for you. Go for it.
As the successor to Donald Trump, the next emperor.
Yeah, you should definitely do that to Australia. I'll support you. I'll call all my cousins and my friends in Australia and say, tell them to vote for you.
Well, there's a parrot that's talking in some language. And that might have been a hint that there'd been people on this island. Oh, okay, there you go. There's some porn for you. Porn for women. Does that
Not
do it for
really.
you? Oh,
They depict women completely naked and men, they keep them decent. God forbid there's a little bit dick or ball showing.
well, there's a face for you. Look at that.
Yeah,
Barely human.
very monkeyish. I think later on in the story, there's one place where when she goes to rescue him and cut the ropes, like he has these glowing eyes. He almost looks like an animal.
I guess he finds a fruit, doesn't he? Like this is a woman that can't pick fruit. Obviously, she lacks that skill.
Hey, but she's very nicely shaven for somebody who's surviving in jungle.
Have interesting eyes there. Okay, they found a lost temple. These people took their religion very seriously. Back in the Assyrian times, the temple was the center of most things, even markets and trade. It was the Greeks who, when they invaded the Middle East, were the ones that started separating creating secular markets. Very elaborate temple. Wonder how much it cost to build.
It's a fantasy comic. It wasn't built. Cost him a pen and an ink and paper. But here we like I saw like inspiration that they took like from Egypt mummies. The bodies look very mummified kind of bodies.
I was talking with a Serbian a couple of weeks ago. His name was Zoran. He hasn't picked up much on uh, Western adequacy. Came here when he was 20. He's remained an absolute Yugoslav. Okay, so what do you reckon, David? So the way this person has worked their pains.
The way his eyes glow in the dark, the gold color.
Well, it's the way the each little pane is coming across. What do you reckon, David? It's a sort of it's working rather well, I think.
Right. Yeah. Nicely laid out.
Some man is holding a rock. So somehow they're starting some other scenario there.
Yeah, it's like her having a dream, basically, like recollecting what happened here, almost, because they have these like dark creatures and light creatures.
He's turning into a god.
No, it's like almost father figure coming for his fallen son. And she's dreaming about it. It's almost like having a premonition, or or I don't know, reflection of the past. Because he doesn't see it. He's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, what are you screaming about, right? He goes after her and she's telling him the story and he's like, nobody's alive. What are you talking about?
Well, what would you say about a woman like this? I think she would be baggage, wouldn't she? She doesn't seem to be terribly good at doing anything except looking pretty.
She was sold by her own father.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess she was two princes.
Hyperanian ship. So we've got a basis, a Greek trieme with lanterne sails, perhaps. So that's a mixture of different styles there, different periods of history. Pirate crew of all different sorts.
Like I said, it's somebody who's just recalling other stories and drawing a ship that they think it's supposed to look, what a ship is supposed to look like. There's zero like research done for this comic. It's pure fantasy.
Okay, so he's got a mountain of lard and some muscle. Fight. Coward me.
He's very nimble for a big guy.
One of the problems of being big, you know what, one of the biggest problems of, say, comparing a small guy and a big guy, what is the bigger disadvantage in being big? One is being nimble, yeah, but the other one is the bigger you are, the faster you tire out. Same story in horses. Like, you know, the big horses can gallop at high speed, but over a short distance. Whereas a small horse can maintain itself over longer distances better. It has more stamina.
There must
No,
be something to it. I just
it's
read a
physics.
study that they have done on short men versus tall men. And they basically are saying that short men live longer compared to taller men
That'd
because,
be true, yeah. There's more
yeah,
stress.
they actually have done the study on it
There's more
and
stress
proven
on
it.
a larger body than a smaller one. It's probably why women live longer than men, because generally men are larger. One of the reasons.
Or they do stupid things that women don't risk doing.
Actually, this is I find his stories a bit simple and a bit dull, and this is actually quite a simple story, but the artwork is that good. It completely makes up for it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on it. Like there are things missing in a story, and like the bizarre monkey that just shows up out of nowhere. Like little twists to the story that don't make any sense.
The killer ape is, because that's what Conan is. He's verging on ape-like strength. So what can match him is the killer ape.
Even you give him way too much credit. I don't even think that that was the angle that the writer and artist were going for. I think it was just they had a deadline to meet, so they tossed everything plus the monkey at him.
Oh, this would have been all in the original story. They're following the original story. They make a case of that because they're printing the original stories here. So these particular cartoons will have to follow the original story very closely.
Here it is. Do you see the dark eyes with a little piercing light?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So weird. It's almost inhuman, right?
Well, the features are caused by very thick bones. You know, when you start to get, you know, strong brow, you know, strong cheekbones, protected
Neanderthal,
jaw, that's a result of bone thickness.
Neanderthal features.
It's in modern humans. Like you've got the original inhabitants of Europe. You know, one of the names they gave them was Cro-Magnon, and they were quite powerfully built. Actually, they were the most powerfully built race of men that ever existed. Uh, Very early ones were often about 7 feet tall. They called them one point, the Great Ice Age Hunter. But so you see in Europeans, say compared to people from the Middle East, although much of the European genome is actually people from the Middle East who brought farming to Europe, you see a lot of Europeans showing much heavier builds than you'd see amongst Middle Eastern people.
That was the first male anatomy that they showed, and it was a dead dude, like a freaking zombie mummy. Further down, you missed it. It's right there.
Oh, okay.
You see it, right?
Yes, yes, some sort of thing
Everything
with.
else is kind of like dried out, mummied out. Very weird choice from the artist point of view.
Well, she's a screamer, isn't she? It's a bit like, some of those early adventure serials, Tarzan or something like that. There comes the giant ape. That's actually a Gigantacus. There was an ape that big in prehistoric times. Olivia, get to cover. Well, he sliced its arm off. It's not going to stop the ape. What is it? He's a grey man ape, dumb and man-eating. How this one arrived on the island is beyond my reckoning. Yeah, there's a region that's supposed to be full of these apes, sort of in some mountains, not that far from the sea they're in. So somehow one managed to get on the island. Oh well, taking care of the crew. Conan's made it on the ship. Under pirate law, because he's defeated the leader, they have to make him the new leader. Oh well, there we are. Happy ending.
By the time he escapes the island, gets to the boat, and he has time to go through clothing, find a new outfit, and even accessories. He put on like a golden ornament around his forehead.
Well, he's found some clothes on the ship.
He's
He's going to dress
huge.
like a
Who's
pirate.
gonna have that big of a size for him?
It's well, actually, historically, when I think actually happened in the Middle Ages, and it became famous that I think it was Swiss or something like that defeated an army, and they took their clothes, and to make the clothes fit, they slashed them, and it became sort of like a style, showing. So they slashed them. Maybe they got somebody to sew across the slashes so they could fit into the clothes. Maybe they got women to add extra material. Shadows in the moonlight. Yeah, well, there's the original story, so they'll have to follow the original story very closely. Well, another artist. Yeah, I found this pretty okay as well. There we are.
This one is a
Normally
little bit
these would
more
be very,
softer.
sorry?
It it's drawn a little bit more of its softer features, but the faces were so realistic. Like they freaked me out. Like the lady right there in the upper right hand corner. That's way too much detail. It's kind of freakish.
Well, you look at Conan, he's looking like Ozzy Osbourne now.
Right.
It's
I don't know. I didn't appreciate this one as much. Like the details were nice, like in the robes and everything, but the faces were more scary than entertaining. Something that nightmares are made out of.
well, like you got this woman's got a quite hookish nose, but that'd be typical of the Middle East, I suppose.
Yeah.
There's the old wise man, give him some information. They find a pit full of burned bones.
Storyteller, right? He kind of takes away that need of having to draw everything. He just tells the story of what's supposed to be happening, what the issue is, and what he's gonna try to figure out or solve. This is so interesting. Like the way they chose to draw it, like there's so much detail, a lot of like ink shading, which is like they used color, but also a lot of ink shading. That took a lot of time. There was one panel before that where they're running and they have that type of like lines going towards a focal point, which kind of indicates that fast speed. Very nicely done. The artwork is really impressive. Not pretty, but impressive. I still find it freakish.
Okay, he's bought his room for the night because it isn't safe to stay on the streets.
The
But
koi pond, like right in the middle of.
of course, this guy's laughing because he knows what's going to happen to an outsider. He's going to become food for the Negroes or whatever they are. Stygians, I think you.
Wow.
He looks a bit
Great
worried at the
choice
sword.
of words.
Okay, there's one. He's knocked one off. They've filed their teeth. I think that did happen in some parts of Africa. There were sort of like cannibal tribes in some places.
No, to this day, it's seen as part, like as beauty. They still have girls and young men who are becoming of age. They go and file their teeth down because that's a sign of growing up and beauty. Has nothing to do with cannibalism.
Okay. The maiden in distress, who spends most of her time naked in this comic.
Yep.
In the story, actually, I did
They,
check
they,
it.
they ran out of ink. They didn't have enough in a budget to draw some clothing on her. And the way she seductively holds her hair up. Beautifully done. She strikes a pose in many of the panels. I'm surprised that you're not saying anything about her because she's manipulative. This is the first female that I would have agreed with you, Stephen, that she's manipulating him
Oh yeah,
from the start to the end.
yeah. Well, yes, this is quite. This is not just your typical woman. This is a very, very dangerous one. You can see that her face.
Looks insane. Like she
Yeah,
set the
looks
fire to the insane
very,
asylum.
very harsh. It looks like somebody who's used to eating men. She's a man eater,
She
which
looks
goes
like she
quite
eats
nice.
babies to stay young.
Sorry?
She looks like she eats babies to stay young. She does not
Yeah,
look like a man eater. Like I don't know what man would be attracted to something like super dark circles around the eyes, sunken in cheekbones. It looks like a skeleton.
there was a word
Except
for it, wasn't there? They used to condemn Hollywood actresses in the silent film era and called them vamps. So they used the heavy makeup to appear strongly on the old black and white film.
if you were into necromania, this is appealing. She looks
Well,
like a dead body.
Conan in this one was quite attracted to her. He makes that obvious. That's her boyfriend who's she's given a poison potion to by mistake, and he's gone mad. You're a man. Help me. Totterus must die. Slay him for me. Put my neck into a Turanian noose. Nay, the Hycorenians have no love for Totterus. The priest of Set Fearing is a mongrel who rules men through fear and superstition. What about his magical powers? You are a warrior, risking your life as part of your profession. Getting killed is part of your job. For a price, my beauty. So he does like her. You will
Right
have
there
to.
and then, like you can see in the words that she's more than just a simple woman, that she holds a higher power. Because nobody who has worked or been mistreated would use such high powered words to manipulate. You can tell that she's kind of like in a leading position.
You will not fail me. So I've got this sort of almost this mono sort of color here. Oh, look, very nice. She's got a reflection on some sort of very polished marble or something.
It looks like a gold dome.
Oh, right. Yeah, they might have coated it with gold leaf or something like that. But she's stolen away from him. Come, barbarian. He's putting into facing somebody with powers of illusion. He's fighting some giant aurochs. Guy's trying to bite his neck. He snapped the other guy's neck. Can't beat Conan. He's been made to dance by the ruler. But the snakes are illusions. Well, he didn't last long, did he?
Yeah, that was kind of like disappointing. Like there's like no fight, no resistance.
Well, it would have been in the story, so you're going to have to blame Howard. Give me that file, you vicious, filthy snake. What the devil are you looking for? A ring he stole from Elfdal. It was revealed later Conan had stolen the ring.
Mm.
She says at one point that she hasn't got time to put on clothes. But now she has time to put on a robe.
Yeah, because it was obvious her clothing depicted her as the ruler, as somebody in higher power, right?
Yeah, looking very Egyptian, very Nefertiti.
Cleopatra.
Anyway, she's going to curtail her offer and he's just going to get gold and he's going to get a job working for her.
And he didn't even get a lot of gold. It literally was like a little satchel of gold.
Well, that'd be about
Look, right there. Barely
yeah.
anything. So
Uh,
stingy. For a city of gold, she's surrounded by gold. She gave him very little for the effort that he did.
that'd be a few kilograms of gold, huge amount actually. Back in those days, especially gold was
You
quite
kilograms?
rare in ancient times.
That's barely 1 kilogram of gold right there. It fits in one hand.
No, that would be ooh,
What's the density of gold? And look at the
very high,
volume.
very
Look,
high.
look at the volume.
Okay, I'll go and get phone and look it up. Okay. That's a ball bigger than a softball. Uh,
So it's 19.32 grams per centimeter cubed. And we
yeah.
have like barely 10 by 10 there.
Okay. So that's
So
100 cubic
barely two
centimeters.
kilos. Barely 2 kilos of gold.
Really?
Yeah, look, it's not even 10 by 10 when you consider the
That's
volume.
about 100 cubic centimeters, perhaps, or maybe not quite that much. Let's
So
see.
100 times 19.32 is barely 2 kilos. But then again, it's a fantasy. Maybe it's the satchel is a magic satchel and he opens it and it's like a whole room of gold. And I think David fell asleep on us.
He's getting a bit old.
You think? He's really
Yeah.
enjoying his retirement. But he's recording us, so we can't say shit about him.
I think David has spent most of his life retired. I
That's
think
nice.
he's somehow he's avoided having a regular job for most of his life.
David, wake up. David,
No, no, no. No, that's cruel.
because we gotta stop. It's almost time. It's 9:49. We've been on it for an hour. And we don't want him to keep recording over an hour, right, David? We can close out and you can go brush your teeth, pajamas on, go to bed.
Actually.
We didn't hear back from you. So we thought like, oh, okay, you're just staying quiet like usual. I switched over. Are you on East Coast? Did you move and didn't tell me? You're 3 hours behind me. I should be in bed.
Right,
Stephen is researching density of gold and trying to calculate how much gold he received. I told him it's like he said kilograms and kilograms. Barely 2 kilogram, in my opinion.
Hmm.
You missed the whole science argument that we had here.
Well, yeah, it says about 2 kilograms of gold.
We are getting ridiculous, David, at this point.
Sure.
We are nitpicking even the little satchel of gold that he got paid. We almost at the end. So and this is kind of satisfying where he goes, gets the innkeeper and feeds these,
Cannibals.
yeah, with the little fat innkeeper. And
He's,
then he reveals that he
he's
got
off
the golden
the
ring.
ring.
That's the reason he didn't fight her on the meager satchel of gold that she gave him. What does the ring do? I didn't get it.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to look
They
that up.
don't really explain it. They don't give an explanation what the ring does. Like she wants the ring, so must be some part of magic controlling ring, right?
Well, usually he wasn't into magic in the older comics. He didn't like magic too much.
But this one was heavy with magic influence.
The man
All right.
eaters, right? The man eaters of the man eaters of Zambula, right?
Yeah.
That concludes tonight's review of Conan the Barbarian. It was so interesting, David could not stand it anymore.
Yeah. Well, too bad you missed the first two.
Yeah, I've read them. Like the first one was like, I was like, all right, interesting. The second one was weird. And the third one was like Steven said, like it lacked full developed stories. It was just almost kind of like done in haste. Very
Which
dry.
one? Which one did I say would lacked the story? Yeah, well, I think Howard's storylines were fairly simple. He's not going into much really detail about what makes these worlds tick. It's just a stage for him, some girl, wizards, whatever he's fighting, monsters. So there you go. There's a very nice image on the weird tales that would have got them going in the 1930s. What do you reckon? They would get them to buy this story.
I definitely prefer Swamp Thing over Conan. Swamp Thing at least had a little bit more in depth stories. It was witty.
What was that? Swamp Thing. Oh,
Yeah. David and I were reviewing the Swamp Thing from like beginning. I prefer those. Those were done better, way better. This one was just like to satisfy somebody's fantasy and fetish, I think. Just thrown a bunch of images of naked women and despair, the story of like conquering victory. Doesn't really have much of a good storyline.
yeah. I used to get my rocks off when I was about 14 reading, or 13 reading Edgar Rice Burroughs, or maybe I was 15, Venus series, which was similar. The hero was on Venus and he was always running across some semi-naked princess or something like that. That got me going when I was young. Yeah, just wondering what was the significance of the ring.
They don't they don't say. It's just that he had the ring on and he could perform magic. So most likely it's magic wielding or I don't know.
Yeah, it
Ring.
says in the Wikipedia it's a magic ring. Okay, I'll do a search. Magic ring. See what they say. What? Okay, the magical ring in Conan universe connected with the story is called the Star of Korala. Renowned for its mystical power to enslave the hearts and minds of the opposite sex. Oh, well, that's why I liked the ring. And that was, of course, that would give her a great amount of power if she got the ring. Okay.
All right. I think in conclusion, I say don't like it.
Well,
I boiled it down to simplicity.
I quite liked it myself.
uh, well, there's still more. Do we
Oh,
stop
I can
here?
do another one.
Another one? Okay.
I'll let you know when I've had enough.
Okay. We'll do more next month then. More of the Cimmerian. All right, that's fine.
All right. That's it for
Right.
me.
So the name of the artist was Stephanie Geese for the first one.
Over and this upcoming Monday, North American Monday, is Palimpsest Heavens Group.
Mm.
Oh, okay. I'll have a little look, see what it's about.
Oh, yeah,
But
it's
I will be. All right. Okay.
That one will be a few hours after that day's Rick meeting. But I'll be happy to send you that to you if you want to take a look at it.
I've got
There are
another.
no naked ladies hanging on to somebody's leg and begging to be rescued. It's
Well,
quite depressing. You might not like it.
that's so you're that's just part of the machinery that makes us
Yeah, but
human.
it's literally about women giving birth and then questioning that motherhood and connection to their own mothers. Definitely not your type of flavor, Stephen.
So you claim most men haven't outgrown their mothers.
And no ships. No ships either.
Yeah, we used to do a wider variety back in the day, but
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. It will sort of clash with another group I'm doing anyway. So
ah,
it's one I do at about 10 o'clock.
yeah, it'll be a few hours after that day's Rick meeting. But
Would
All
so
right.
you've read it, have you? What do you think of the story?
yeah, it's a document of her trying to find her birth parents.
Oh, right, all right. Yeah. Probably a problem, even though it might be worthy. There's just so much stuff in your head these days from all these different sources now. There's so much material that, on the net and everything that you're trying to follow up. I'm trying to follow up that Quigley thing. I was listening to a few more. Uh,
Uh,
and I've got my studies about nihilism and sort
mm,
of religion, where sort of, sort of Nietzsche's points about the decline of our values. We've lost the God. God gave us our values, the God culture, and now we've gotten rid of that.
right.
I found these yesterday.
Yeah.
Some pile of cards called Healing Energy Oracle. It was just sitting in the throw out tray at the library. I don't know why they have mystical cards there, but the whole set was there.
All right. It's past 10 for me.
Okay.
Night night.
All right. I'll
Good fight, Stephen.
be in touch.
Yeah,
Night, guys.
yeah. See you next time.
Later, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, Dave. So you had your nap. How are you feeling now?
Yeah. I'm just trying to. Oh my gosh. It's like trying to operate through glue.
Operate through glue.
My computer is just slowing down.
Oh, okay.
Link, copy link, done. Click, paste, there. Next, rename. Well, you click on something and it just won't go anywhere. And you just gotta just be patient until it does something that you want it to do.
Now, I thought computers were supposed to be fast,
Well,
and they're getting slowed down by the amount of junk they want to throw on them all the time.
link, done, and there. Okay. All right. So, okay. at least one more Cimmerian for next month. I think I have. Yeah, I have June.
So what's it? It must be about 7 o'clock in the evening in California, is it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. It's June, summertime, so it's still going to be pretty light out. You want to see the sunlight? What do we got? Uh, the rest of June is laid out, and it looks like I think, yeah, looks like I got a good July laid out too. Very likely. I have July laid out. Okay. Yeah, that'll work.
Donald Duck's a big, or Uncle Scrooge is a big.
Mm.
So I'll download Hellblazer. That'll be a lot quicker.
My, let's just move that there. Let's just move that there for the time being. Um,
Yeah, I
okay.
put a video in the Facebook about somebody's arguing about the medical system in America back in the days that Rick preferred. There's probably quite a lot of complexities involved. One
Mm,
thing is that the modern medicine's probably getting very expensive because there's so many things that can be done these days. But I was saying a doctor's visit was $2 in 1960. And yeah, health insurance had become quite a thing in World War II. They were explaining how in World War II wages were frozen. So to get workers, companies started offering health insurance, and that's where it started as a cultural item, because you don't have that in Australia, for example.
mm,
Uh, But of course, now Americans regard, health insurance with their workplace as sort of like a
mm,
right, I suppose.
mm, mm. Yeah.
There's a there's a kilogram of silver.
Wow. Wow.
So let's see. Silver's not as heavy as dense as gold. So say, for example, if that was gold, it'd be getting more towards about 2 kilograms. Yeah, ordered what was it? 50 US an ounce. At the moment, it's about 75, but I was hoping for bigger profits. It actually went up to 120 a few months ago. So I should have sold some there, dummy.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I still can't complain because I've still made money. I haven't lost any.
Right. That's, yeah.
I said that to myself. I'll buy some silver and I'll sell it in a few months. And when it got up to 120, I hung out for more. And it didn't work out. It went down.
Okay.
Let's see how those downloads are going.
Mm-mm. Well, yeah, it occurred to me that I wanted to say because you asked the question, where are the Aristoi today? Remember?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Where
right.
are the But you say, okay, well, you want me to answer
Or Donald Trump, it's obvious.
that? Your question is, where are the Aristoi on planet Earth in the year 2026? But see, you're asking that, and that means that you're not understanding. You're not understanding what Rick and I are saying. There aren't any. They don't exist. That's what we've been saying. They've been exterminated. The number of Aristoi on planet Earth in the year 2026 stands at 0. Now
Okay.
there are individual people who are born with possessing the potentiality to have developed into Aristoi. Yes, that happens. That's constantly happening. But they never managed to develop into Aristoi because there's no context for that. There's no cultural and social context where they would be allowed to do that. So that they never develop. That's why there aren't any Aristoi today. So there's your answer.
Okay, so yeah, yeah, I would say there's an element of the Aristoi in every person.
Hmm.
Uh, and it's a cultivation. It's something that's probably stronger in some individuals than other when they're born, and some cultivated. And of course, they had a class. Aristoi is a class, so they were looking for somebody to fill that class. You know, when there were two groups fighting, like say the Vikings with Alfred the Great, uh, the people that were important were these, the big guys in society were the Aristoi. They were the ones who you sent to negotiate with the other side. The rest of the population, your craftsmen, the Banausoi, and the slaves or the serfs didn't rate in governance of society. The Banausoi were there to serve the crafts, and the Duloi were there to do the work, and the people that were truly at the top of the tree who expressed what it was to be a human being in all the arts were the Aristoi. They were the ones that were given the liberal education. They were the ones that were given the challenges. And of course, when you're at that level, it was competitive. You were competing with other Aristoi for who's going to shine at the top. Well, we had a noble class up until about World War One, but of course the aristocracy had become soft. They had lost the qualities that truly made them aristoi. They had some of the probably as far as their material culture went, they probably had an appreciation of material culture which was noble, but their spiritual culture they'd fallen to their appetites. This is part of the reason, people like the Romanovs were overthrown because they were no longer really fulfilling the role. They were just there to feed their appetites. They spent their time half the year in Paris, not even attending to their duties in their own country. They're just living the high life. So the Aristoi was an ideal which was still there in the Middle Ages, and of course the class that comes along and starts to undermine the Aristoi were the merchants. The merchants are the one that bring a highly developed material culture. You know, that class builds nice cities, nice trade, a lot of nice, good quality goods, whereas the noble classes, the aristocracy and the warrior class, who form the basis for the democracy, well, they're about enforcing their rights by their personal power, which could be violence, it could be wisdom. The common villagers had laws, certain laws to protect the individual, but the medieval aristocracy, although they could use and they did use parliament, ultimately would turn to their own martial prowess and their own ability to lead to enforce their rights. It's the merchants, when they come along, who get a Bill of Rights created, because the merchants are not warriors and their ability to protect their property is limited unless they've got a Bill of Rights, and everybody's fooled into believing it. And of course, eventually, because the wealthy merchants, who are still essentially commoners, get rights, those rights start trickling down to common people and you get democracy. In the end, various leaders want to extend their power, and they will surrender the right to vote to lower and lower classes. So we've arrived at the situation now, and what do the lower classes want? Lots of handouts, and they bankrupt the state, and the only way out of that is a tyranny. So you've got the evolution of the tyrant in Donald Trump. He's not quite there. There's still a democracy which could chop him off, but he's displaying the powers of a tyrant. But yeah, it's a cultivation. These ancient societies were living a lot closer to basic reality. And somebody with the leadership potential really sticks out. They didn't have so much in the way of systems. It was very personal. The leader stood out. The leader was the one that could marshal the others into how to deal with situations. The Juloi would just sit in the corner and whimper. The Banausoi would just wander around in circles. The leader was a person that could drill them into dealing with the situation. The quality of leadership. Okay. That no society can for long sustain its systems of order without correctives against the dementias and nihilism of Banausoi is a premise untranslatable into Banausoi terms. Banausoi in modernity exert their concerted organisational efforts to deposing from authority and character assassinating all principled resistance to their all-out class warfare being waged on one front against the sacrificial beasts of burden among the Juloi, and on another front against the critics, idealists, reformers, revolutionaries, prophets, moralists, etc. of the caste of Greeks called the Aristoi, those who live for the sake of cultivating excellence in insight and connoissorial judgment about what is right, true, rational, and just. This third case, after several generations of ideological and cultural genocide, is nearly extinct in modern societies. It is the burr under the saddles of the horsemen of the apocalypse, and it is the watchman that alarms the populace when society is lapsing from civilization into barbarism. The organised nihilist cunning of modern Banausoi is singled out such opponents for extermination as, right, I'll have to look that one up. Desaparecidos. What's that mean, David?
I think that's Spanish, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Not that my Spanish is particularly good. As subversive nihilist cunning of the modern Banausoi, as single, all right, yeah, as subversives, communists, heretics, atheists, whatever vilification can arouse the most depraved hatred of the great beast. I suppose, yeah, if you look at the age of enlightenment, of course, the middle class, the Banausoi, strove to overthrow the royalists because they figured, look at all these doopy royalists. They don't deserve their role in the world. Us Banausoi can take their role over. One of the things I probably note with the French Revolution is, beside all that, the crown still gave better governance than the people that overthrew them for a while. Basically, Napoleon had to re-establish an aristocratic order for society to start functioning properly again. So the revolutionaries actually were overthrown. He kept an ideal in the law. He did try to establish a set of laws which promoted greater equality. On the continent, on the continent, if you're of the noble class, you were forbidden from marrying into a lower class. Whereas in Britain, you could do that. It's in that one I put up about Barry Lyndon. They were pointing that out. That, of course, he'd been a commoner, could marry a noblewoman, and then he could try to raise himself to the nobility, whereas that was strictly forbidden on the continent at the time. Okay, well, Donald Duck's downloaded by the looks of things, open file. Yep, so it looks okay. That one's working. Oh well, next time then.
Yeah. All right, Stu.
Right, so chat for some reason. Okay. It's going to be what's on the existentialist today. That's a slightly interesting one. It's Umberto Eco's ideas about the fascists,
Hmm.
and I think Eco was doing a bit of a snow job. That he, as a Marxist, doesn't want the real truth about the fascists to come out. Who were the fascists? Who was Mussolini? He was originally a Marxist. He saw that some of Marx's basic premises didn't work in World War One. that there would be international loyalty amongst the workers. And as soon as the war started, they simply reverted to their nation types. And I think, you get this with Karl Popper as well, that the modern rationalists think that they can create this huge world order and they can overcome tribalism. And of course, we have that in the Bible. The Bible, has the Tower of Babel when people broke apart into different tribes as a legend. And the Bible is pointing out that this sense of tribalism is very powerful. Marx was saying, no, the workers would all unite. Nope. Karl Popper's saying tribalism is evil. Every turn there proves wrong, and the rationalists will not accept it, that this urge to have racial identity or your group identity. Now, of course, I point out that race is a bit different from the scientific idea of race, which has some idea of pure breeds. You can be a person from outside that pure breed, but if you unite with it, if you become part of that group, then you're effectively part of that race. But not like the idea, sort of scientific idea, which was rather that people will function as groups. And it's not the individual. I think I've made the point before. The individual is not a race. They might have racial attributes, but they themselves are not a race. You only find the race in the group. Only then does the group tendency come out, when you have an actual group. As Jesus said, when two or three are gathered in my name, there's no real place for the individual in Christianity. It's a group phenomenon. Okay, I'll see you next time, Dave.